flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. My name's Captain Bill Wilkerson, owner-operator of Malihini Sport Fishing and Horizon Charters. I've been in the sport fishing industry almost 42 years. I got my captain's license in 35 years ago. This is my 6th issuance. So yeah, 35 years ago. I've been owner-operator of Malihini Sport Fishing since 2006. And God's blessed us, that's all I can say, because we were able to acquire another vessel called the Horizon, which was a dive boat in San Diego, California for 20 years. And it's going to be our full day, not full day, not cost effective. It's going to be our day and a half, 2 day, 2.5, 3 day, 3.5, 4 day, 5 day boat. She is Zone 3 certified, so she can fish anywhere from Point Conception, which is way up to the north, all the way down to La Paz, Mexico. No more than 250 miles offshore. So her range is 1,320 miles before I have to turn around and come back. So yeah, she's gonna do what she's supposed to do, and that's bring joy and happiness to everybody. You know, gosh, I started my business with the premise in 2006 that I was going to add more value to something that is already established in the sense of the Malihini. The Malihini itself is a World War II PT boat. It was built in 1944, completed and packaged with the 650. Her original name was 657. 657, 58, 59, and 60 were supposed to have been sold to Russia. The war ended. Those 5 craft came back to San Diego and was placed in Port Hueneme, I do believe, which was the surplus for all the Navy vessels. There were 647 of those particular Higgins models built, all except for those 5. There were 12 that were left over. Most of them were stationed in the South Pacific, the Philippines, Guam, places like that. They were all, when the war ended, they were all stripped and burnt to the ground. So it left those 5 that I know of the Higgins class. You had a Higgins class and a Huggins class. They were fighting with each other who was going to get the military contract from the government. Anyway, the 657 and 58 were then sold to private investors. The 657 and 58 went to, the 58 went to Bremerton, Washington. The 57 went to Oregon. The 59 and 60 were added to the fleet to pull target boats. The 60 was hit by a shell and sunk. Go figure, huh? The 59 was then brought back to San Diego, where it was neglected for, I'm guessing, 20 or 30 years. A historical company in Louisiana where the boats were originally built, bought that, took it back to Louisiana, restored it to its original configuration. 2 years ago, it burnt to the ground. Kind of bummed me out. So now there's 2 left. That's the 657 and the 658. The 658 is up in Bremerton, Washington, and it runs trips in its original configurations that had 3 Packard V12 engines in them, burned about 1,000 gallons emission. We're talking 12 hours. The boat was capable of doing about 48 to 55 miles per hour on the ocean. Yeah, Pretty dang cool. Pretty dang cool. Malihini does about 12 knots. Okay? I'm not going to lie. Does about 12 knots. I purchased the Malihini in 2006. From 2006, back up. Beep. 1960, H&M Landing bought the Malihini. It was the first 80-foot overnight boat in San Diego. It ran overnight trips from 1960 to 1972. In 1972, she was moved from overnights to the Coronado Island run, where she ran from 1972 to 2017. In 2017, for whatever reason, and I'm good with it, H&M Landing decided that they needed another boat. So they enlisted the Grande. Grande came over, and the Malihini became a charter boat. I'm going to tell you, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. I was scared to death because I was depending on the landing to do all my bookings and everything else that went on with the boat. It done since 2006 to 2017. And kind of being out there in the cold, kind of, trying to, what's the term I'm looking for? Fight for something you really believe in a sense, and making it a go of it. We came back into operation in June of 2018, and we ran 34 trips that year. To go from grossing almost $1 million to grossing $26,000 your first year, I don't know if we're going to make it. Seriously. The following year, we ran 64 trips. 2020, we ran 78 trips. 2021, we picked up a contract with the San Diego City school system. I'm telling you guys a little bit about me, so you know where my mindset is, if that makes sense. In 2021, we ran 92 trips. Out of those 92 trips, 28 of those were school trips. The school trips, they're a labor of love for me in a sense, because there's no money in it. You're not going to get rich, but to see that fifth, sixth, and seventh graders that come from these inner city schools, that live by the ocean, but have never been to the beach or on a boat for that matter. You know what I mean? I was kind of one of those products growing up. I'm thankful to my grandmother, because she is the one that got me on the number 4 bus at 4 o'clock in the morning every Saturday. We'd go down to Venice Beach, 2.5-hour bus ride, get off the bus, walk into Joe's Cafe, which was right there next to the pier, get our breakfast, walk up the pier to the first opening, sit there and fish till 6 or 7 o'clock at night, get on that bus, come back home. Dude, it was probably the best. The first 2 or 3 times I wasn't feeling it. Like, oh, Grandma, we got to go again. But the first surf perch I caught was probably about that big. I was on cloud 10. We did that for like 2 years. Then when she decided to take me to Santa Monica Pier, we get to Santa Monica Pier on the bus. I used to climb underneath the pier where the pylons are, and we had a big old long pier gaff, and I pulled mussels off of it, bait my hook, drop it down, catch big gigantic buttermouth perch about that big. Oh my God. To me that was this is awesome. And we're down there one weekend, and I noticed this ramp come down. People get off the boat, people get on the boat, and the boat goes out. And I came back up and I asked her, I says, what are they doing? They're fishing from a boat. Really? Can we try that? She told me, yeah. The following weekend, she knew the guy that ran the Santa Monica was the name of the boat at the time. And she knew the guy that ran it. Went down there, got on the boat, fished. I've never fished off a pier since. I was probably 10 or 11 years old. My grandmother and I would catch the bus down there. She would stay on the pier. I'd get on the boat. I'd fish all day. I'd scrub the boat coming back in. Next trip, I'd fish some more. I'd scrub the boat coming back in, and it was cool. We left. I left L.A. when I was 11, and we moved to San Diego. I dead-headed for. I'm 14 now. I dead-headed for C4 Sport Fishing, where I worked on the sand. Well, not worked, but I did the same thing I did in Santa Monica. Scrubbed the boat and fished all day. And joined the service, got out of the service, and then went back to fishing on weekends. I worked for a gentleman. I worked on the Mascot 6, which was then the Chief, which is no longer here. I did a stint on the Cherokee Geisha with Butch Harris. And then I went to work for a gentleman by the name of Ray Sobiak. He owned the producer for a number of years. Probably, in my opinion, from what I've been around, the best fisherman I've ever seen. That boat ran consistently 120 to 220 days a year. We would start fishing in second week of March, and we'd fish through November. Back then, overnight Coronado Islands, oh, golden. You know, and he taught me some very, very valuable lessons just about how to treat people, you know, how to run a successful operation, and how to catch fish. It's kind of funny. I remember I think it's 2001, October. Mind you, I had a 9 to 5 during the week. I would leave my 9 to 5 during the week, go home, change my clothes, get on that boat Friday night, leave that boat Sunday night when we were done, get up the next morning and go to work. I had to work 2 jobs. I had 4 kids. You know, it was cool. It was cool though. My children never wanted for anything. They always had what they needed. And I believe that it was a stepping stone that God put on me as a man to take care of my family in that sense. I went from getting on the boat that Friday night, walked in the wheelhouse, and he says, "What are your plans for next year?" I just kind of looked at him, said, "Same thing I was doing this year, you know, run the deck." And he told me, "Not on this boat, you're not." And I looked at him sideways. I didn't talk to him for 2 days. Sunday came around, I go down to the bunk room, I grab all my gear, I come up the stairs, and I was just going to walk off the boat. He goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "I go to find another boat to work on next year." And he looked at me. He said, "Get in the wheelhouse." He walked up into the wheelhouse. Now, $1,240 is it still is a lot of money to me. And he goes, "Is that why you didn't talk to me for 2 days?" I said 2 words to him in 2 days. I said, "Well, you know, you don't want me here, obviously, so I got to go find someplace else to work." He goes, "Is that based off the conversation we had?" I told him, "Yeah, it is." He goes, "You dummy." And I just looked at him and said, "I beg your pardon." He reaches over into where he kept all his papers and stuff and hands me an envelope. He goes, "Don't you think it's time for you to sit behind the wheel?" It was a check for $1,275 for me to go get my license. There was two conditions. I had to work for him for a year, and I had to pay that forward. I wound up working for that man for another 7, 8 years. In 2004, January, he sold the boat. I was supposed to buy the boat with someone else. It fell through, no biggie. 2006, I was coming off of a fishing trip. I don't know what boat I was on. And a guy by the name of Tim Green, who owned the Premier, who owned the Fisherman 3 and the Malihini, said, I hear you're looking for a boat. I'm like, who told you that? He said, I got my sources. Him and Ray are like this, okay? So I called Ray up. I talked to Ray about it, and he was all about it. He said, you're going to have issues, though. I'm like, okay, why's that? And he just pointed at my skin. Yeah, I'm black, guys. What? Sorry. Really? And you know, it's amazing to me that more black folks, African Americans, Latinos, whatever you want, are not doing this. And it is just fabulous. There's nothing like it in the world. I got on the boat, my very first charter, and it happened. Okay. Yeah, I was kind of, I wasn't raised that way. Does that make sense? And it really kind of took me by surprise. I come out of the engine room, guy standing there, and he goes, how you doing? I said, good, yourself? I said, where's the captain? I said, he's here. He's like, can I talk to him? I said, you're talking to him. And just the look on his face, I mean, I was shocked. You know, that people can be like that. Anyway, him and two of his friends wind up getting off the boat. I told him if he left, he wasn't going to get his money back and blah, 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 blah. The guy that set the charter up, his name was Charles. He comes around the corner. Hey, Bill, what's going on? I said, nothing. I said, your friend wants to leave because he doesn't want to fish with me. And he looked at him and asked him why. And he told him he doesn't believe I know what I'm doing. And he asked him, why is that? And he said straight out, you know? Yeah, and I just kind of looked at him. Well, you know what happened? That guy came back 2 weeks later. He's been chartering my boat every year. Every year, like clockwork. And I tell him it's don't judge me based on what you see. Judge me on my actions. Bottom line. You know, and then we go and we fast forward to 2021, we carried 96 people. Last year we were at 96 trips. Year 21, 96 trips. In 2022, we ran 145 trips. Out of that 145 trips, I got 6 trips from the landing. I'm a firm believer you are family when you're on my boat. You will be treated like family until otherwise. Bottom line. You know, I came here tonight because of Chuck. I really would like for you guys to take a look, you know, at the horizon. I believe I'm going to take the imprint from the Malihini and imprint it there. And I'm going to honestly say I think it's going to probably be the best fishing platform as far as its class in all of California, not just San Diego, all of California. And I really, really honestly believe that. I believe that if God set this up, and if it's from God, I don't care who it is, ain't nobody gonna mess with it. and I don't know if all you guys believe like I do, but if you knew the backstory of where I came from in 2011 to today, I think you'd have an understanding of why I believe the way I believe. I don't want to put that all out because he's filming this. But if you guys, are interested in the backstory to all this,
You can turn that camera on. Hey, we'll get it out.
by all means, I'll be more than happy to share my story with you guys. The horizon as itself is 83 and a half feet long by 25 and a half wide. She has 8 staterooms. She has 6 open berthing spots. If we get 22 people on a charter, everybody has a double bunk. If we get 30 on a charter, then the 6 open bunks become single bunks, which creates 3, 6, 9, 12 bunks. She will sit 30 people, 1 sitting for dinner, 1 sitting for lunch. Granted, hopefully if we're fishing and nobody's sitting down at the same time, that would be the plan. There's going to be 2. One name is Desi. He worked on the Ocean Odyssey.
Yeah, the guy that asked.
Past few years, and he's dynamo. The other one her name will be Leslie. She is also a certified chef. I have not ate her food yet, but I hear it's really, really good. I think the crew, I have a gentleman by the name of Dylan Gerson that I worked with for the past 2.5 years. He ran a very, very successful 4-pack business. He sold his business in search of a bigger boat, and the deal I guess he was getting into fell through. He and I talked in January. He's on board with me for this year, and if things work out, we'll see where we go from there. The boat comes with 8.5-ton RSW, or refrigerated seawater fish hold. She has a bait scoop capacity of, I'm going to say 275 to 300 swings. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. And, it's, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been today at the docks, but if you'd like to take a look at the boat itself, you can go to facebook.com, Malihini Sport Fishing. Captain Dylan took a video tour of the boat, and I believe you guys will get 5-star service at a 3-star price. We are not the cheapest boat in the fleet. We will never be, because I'm a firm believer you get what you pay for. You guys take a trip with us, guess what? You guys are on vacation. You guys shouldn't have to want for anything at all. That's how I conduct business, as a whole. God, it's just a beautiful boat. I don't know what else to say. Any questions?
So I was down at the docks.
Yes.
Did walk onto the horizon. Yes, it is a very, very nice boat, and it's very accommodating. Like Captain Bill was saying, the layout of the whole dining area and stuff like it's very nice. It's very wide open. I believe all the serving is going to be in the center right there.
Breakfast, it depends. It depends on the charter. You know what I mean? Because most of the fishing that has been done has been a night bite as far as that bluefin goes. So if you book a 1.5-day trip, you figure we'll leave the dock at 7 p.m. We will already have gotten bait. That fish right now could be, let's say it's at 50 miles. We leave at 7, we're on scene at 1 o'clock. I hope you're ready to start fishing. I hope you're ready to start fishing.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what's going to happen. We'll sonar ball around, got a school. I stopped the boat, and I'm up. I'm not laying down, I'm up. I might be laying down on the way out because we have a night driver. And I'll tell him, okay, when we get 10 miles from where we're going, I want you to turn the machines on and start looking. You see something, we get 5 miles, wake me up if I'm not up already. My alarm clock is the sonar. I hear the sonar turn on, I'm peek. Okay, what's going on? And it's pretty cool. And, we'll get into a stop. We start hanging fish. We have 2 guys up at all times, regardless. We start hanging fish. Okay, cool. We're hanging more fish. Okay, cool. It's a full-on bite. Okay, everybody's up, except for the cook. And it's game on. We've added not bar lights, but lights that are 1,200 looms. So it'll be like day around the boat for the most part, so we could see what we're gaffing. We're not stretching in the dark or anything like that. We'll come out of that stop, say it's 6:30, 7 o'clock, right at gray light, it stops biting. Okay, now we'll drive around all day, looking, kelp patty here, no kelp patty there, yellowtails, dorados, more yellowtails. I know what time we saw that fish last night, okay? So if we saw it at 1 o'clock, guess what? You best believe it, at dusk or right before dusk, we're going to be back in that same area. Find a school, pin it off, we get bit. We can fish till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because we don't have to be back at the dock until 6 a.m. You follow what I'm saying? That gives us almost a day and a half, but a night and a half because it's biting at night. We take, say you do a 2-day trip with us. I'm not counting the day. I'm counting the nights because it's night fish. We leave the dock at 10 a.m. in the morning. We're fishing as soon as we get on the backside of the 9. Trolling around, kelp patty. I know where the fish were last night. I want to make sure I'm there at dusk. Bottom line. It shows up, we get bit at 10 o'clock. We could be in that stop from 10 o'clock that night till 6 o'clock that next morning. Guys will go lay down, meaning, guys working, crew will go take their naps or whatever case may be. We get out of that stop at 10 o'clock. Normally, if it's biting and it's really good, I'll stay up. If it's not really, really good, I still got 3 deckhands up. I got 3 up, I got 2 down, plus myself. We get up in the morning, they go down. We're then kelp patty fishing. We've already got one full night under our belt. Dusk, guess what? We're not seeing it. Okay, let's go to the south or go to the north or wherever. You know what it is? Okay, we're looking. Oh, there it is right there. Stop the boat, throw up some bait, drop your jigs down, guys. Guys are coming up out of the bunk room. Holy, stop the boat! It's kind of funny. It is funny, dude. And then, we get bit again. We got that whole thing. We get back to the dock at about 6 p.m. We get back to the dock at 6 a.m. the second morning. We got our 2 nights in. I've had questions. Well, what are you doing in a day and a half? And so I'm just explaining everything. Our 3 days, our 3.5 days, we'll leave at 6 p.m. Our 4 days, we'll leave at 6 p.m. Depending on how far the fish are.
Question. So I've fished on a lot of boats down in San Diego, even up at 22nd Street. I've noticed some boats are built a little bit different in the nose, where some boats will have almost like a flat, like front nose that'll come down.
Right.
And some are more angled back, where when you're fighting fish in the nose of the boat and you're getting that big circle, how's the horizon built?
She flares.
She's flat. Okay.
She flares down.
Okay. So you got a pretty good swing on that fish in the nose of the boat.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think so. I think so.
You know, Chuck, generally, Bill will
Right.
tell you too, most of the boats, you got it with a big fish, you know, until it comes to gaff, the bow's probably your safest place.
Exactly.
You got too much running gear back.
Exactly.
And your rudder in the process.
I'd rather fight my fish up on the bow too. Well, if you guys ever take a trip with me, you will never see me on the stern. The boat drifts. Well, I know the Malihini anyways, drifts stern first. As we're drifting, we're throwing bait. That bait is going to pop up off our bow because we're going this way. Only place you'll probably see me is on the bow of that boat. I might start off, if it's in the corner and I see that my people are having a hard time hooking these fish, I'll start grabbing rental rods, pinning them on, pitching them out. Here, pinning them on, pitching them out. Here, pinning them on, pitching out. I remember one time we were sitting there, we were fishing the 4 1/4, and we got on a kelp patty of yellowtail, and we sucked it off the kelp, and it was underneath us really good. In the corner, and it just had a line of rent rods, dude. Give me a rod. Give me a rod. It was funny, like 15 or 20 of them. They get bit, walk around the corner. There you go. Keep going that way. Keep going that way. It was cool, man. It's fun. I get a kick out of that. You know, to see, say, that young lady right there. Who's the dad? You've never fished before. Say you've never fished before. You come out with her?
I've never sport fished like that before, ever. So.
Really? Oh, dude, you got to come. Bring your daughter with you.
It's on the list.
You got to bring your daughter with you.
What's your age limit on those boats?
My granddaughter has been on the Malihini since she was 2 years old. She actually, I'm going to say from 2 to 7, probably all she did was play in the bait tank. You know, Papa, look what I got. I'm like, yeah, I see that. Yeah, exactly. I'd be standing on the bait tank throwing bait. She'll take a sardines and start throwing them in my boots. Like, hey, come on, that ain't cool. You know, she really got into it, I want to say, when she was 10, maybe 9 or 10. And she caught her first yellowtail by herself. We were on a 2-day, and she caught her first one, and then she caught another one, and then she caught another one, and she thought she was all that in a bag of chips. And I'm sitting there, and she goes over to the bait tank. She was looking at the bait, and I'm like, what are you doing? She looks at me and goes, shh. I'm like, what? It's like, I have to focus. I have to catch the right one. It's like, whatever. She pins on the bait, comes over. She doesn't cast it, just drops it straight in the water, takes off. I had been fishing for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, drops it in the water. You got to focus. That's what she told me. I was like, really? You're killing me. She caught her first bluefin tuna last year, a 138-pounder, you know,
Wow.
all by herself. You know, so I guess what I'm trying to say, if you are novice or you have friends that haven't got a clue, I'm going to tell you we're probably the best boat for you. I thrive on teaching technique. I thrive on just, if you're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach. First time someone tells me I know, I'm done. You know, and that's just the way I am. I can guarantee you guys 2 things. I can guarantee you that you will be treated like family. Myself, my crew will be respectful, engaging. I can guarantee you that that boat is going to be in the best possible position for us to take opportunities of the chances given to us. If I could make the fish bite, we wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? In that sense. But, you know, I'm a firm believer, like I said, and you get what you pay for. You know, there's a lot. Yes, sir.
When do you start? What is your first? Yeah.
Our first trip is June 2nd. Well, no, it might be sooner than that. We're doing a shakedown trip that is crew only to go through all the new equipment that we have on the boat. We've ran it at the dock and everything runs fine. I want to put it through its paces. So we're probably going to take off either Saturday night or Sunday morning on probably a day and a half or something like that, an abbreviated day and a half.
Somebody was scrubbing today.
Yeah.
You saw it,
Yeah.
Can I pull the Coast Guard thing? Coast Guard advisor?
yeah, there you go.
I like that. But guys, I mean, it's a passion that I have, that my grandmother instilled in me. And to be doing it as long as I've been doing it and still enjoy it, dude, I've been doing this almost 42 years. I have never seen the same sunrise or the same sunset. If that's not a testament to God's power, I don't know what is. And I mean that. Anybody got any questions? Come on, lay them on me.
We don't, Bill, since you told me the story, it was my grandmother that got me. I mean, she was the hardcore fisherman. My grandpa fished, but my grandma was hardcore.
Yeah.
I mean, she got her last album course. She was 85, and it was, she had a 50-something pounder right in the channel here, you know. And
Amen.
she's had one big jump in Bishop Creek, and without
That's my wife. That's my wife.
no, I get it. It's the wife.
Hey, let me call you back.
Honey, how you doing? I'll make sure mine's off. But the warden mate told me too.
Yeah.
But no, it's so funny. It's fishing with the family, but my grandparents, they had me fishing Redondo Pier when I was 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And half day fishing. I'm gonna fish on a 5 on the horseshoe, but I mean going up in the Sierras with my grandparents.
You know, I think
That was it.
I think my grandmother's reasoning for getting me involved in fishing was because the group of kids that I hung around with. I look back, I'll be 60 in July. I look back at the kids that I hung around with. There was 8 of us. There's only 2 of us left. All the rest are dead or in jail. Straight out, you know, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful that she took that initiative to steer me in a way that I believe makes her proud. You know, I didn't meet my dad, my biological father. I didn't really know. I met my dad when I was 11. We moved to San Diego. My mom married and we came here, or came there, went there. And between my grandmother and my dad, yeah. I have 4 children. My youngest is 37. And none of them are drug addicts, alcoholics. You've never been to jail. They're all very productive citizens of this community. And I owe my grandmother and my dad that. And my mom, of course. Without question, my mom. Without question, Mom, if you're watching.
What town did you grow up in?
West Los Angeles. Over off of 6th and Washington. Went to Arlington Heights Elementary School. Mount Vernon Junior High School. Was supposed to go to LA High School. My grandmother wasn't having it. Yeah.
Grandma's name?
Genevieve Alexander.
Genevieve, thanks.
Uh,
Thank her for that. Question on what's your outlook for the season of sparse fishing? Is the weather, you already seem to be
with Phil.
I'm sure you get that question all the time.
Yeah, with okay, put it this way. In the past 7 years, the last 2 years, I've personally seen cold water. Up until, I want to say 2020, 2021, I saw 59 to 58 degree water. 2022, I saw 59 to 58 degree water. This year, I've seen 58 to 56 degree water. Does that mean anything? I don't know.
Yeah. What are you seeing normally for water temperature?
Well, the last.
What's
Last
normal?
7 years. Like, is it
It hadn't gotten below 60 degrees until 2021.
and it's been what, 63, 4?
60 to 67 by April, 68 to 72 by June, 72 to 80 by between June through October, and then it starts to slow down, cool down right around the first week of November. I think I'd say 62 to 64. 2021, right at, I want to say the first or second week of October, it went from 74 degrees to 63 degrees. That's 10, almost an 11 degree temperature drop. It's huge. Paying attention to that? I am. Okay, so what does that mean? Things are going to go back to normal. What is normal? To me, and I'm speaking from, I'm going to say 2002, 2003, because that's when I really started paying attention to it, because I started driving the boat. January through the first week of March, you're doing maintenance. First week of March through the first week of June, you're doing overnights at the Coronado Islands, catching bass, bonito, maybe yellowtail. About the second, third week of April, the yellowtails start to pick up, get a little more active. They haven't gotten acclimated to structure at the Coronado Islands yet. Then you're looking in June to about the first, second week of August. You start your exploratory trips offshore. The 43, the 60, the 10-10 trench, the mushroom, things like that. Oh, there's albacore. Okay. Limit to albacore every day, every day, every day, every day. Then all of a sudden you see influx about the first week of August through the last week of September. Yellowfin, just charge like there ain't no tomorrow. So you're getting albacore and yellowfin now. About the first week of October, people stop showing up. Fish are still there, but the people stop showing up. We typically every year run out of people before we run out of fish, if that makes sense. Well, other things take priority. I'm getting ready for, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, things like that, which is understandable in that sense. With this fish, this past 6 years and the cycle that it's been on, it's biting all the way into November, maybe into the first week of December. For the horizon, I have exclusively 2.5 to 3 day trips in October, no day and a halves. People stop showing up, you know what I mean? So let's put on some longer trips. These longer trips, I'm in a pool with 2 or 3 other boats, and our schedules are off by a day, if that makes sense. So there's always somebody in the area we've been fishing to see this fish, so we can keep track of it. You go out on a 2.5 day and nobody's out there. You come back, nobody's there for a week. Then you go back out. Where are we gonna look? I don't know. You know what I mean? This way, I figure. Well, the 3 boats, we figure if we are always there, we'll know where to go. Yeah, and it makes sense. Then you start your maintenance, your boat maintenance schedule starting in December to January. With us now with school trips, our we stopped fishing the last week of November. We do all of our maintenance in December. We're back to our school trips in January. We run our school trips from January 1st to June 31st, or May 31st. May 2nd, or June 2nd is the first trip for this year is the first trip for the Horizon. June 8th, the Malihini starts running. The Malihini already has 19 charters so far for this year. We are on pace to maybe 160 if everything keeps going the way it's going. And I honestly believe that it's how we treat our clients. I really do. If you get on the boat and you haven't caught a fish and you've had a great time and you've really, really, really enjoyed yourself, I think you'll come back. If you get on the boat and you've caught a bunch of fish and we were crappy to you, I don't think you'd come back. I really don't. We were on I got to tell you this. We're on a stop. I was so mad. Dude, I was so mad. 425. Sonar mark. I mean, just, oh my gosh. Half screen. Oh, throw bait. He's throwing bait. I turn the boat sideways. Tell the guys to drop their jigs down. As I come out of the wheelhouse, I'm looking, and I see the whole boat just go, like, oh my God, we're screwed. This is what came out of my kid. I didn't say that, but you look out where we're throwing chum, you see 25 and 30 pounders jumping out of the water. Okay, this is manageable. And when the whole boat just did that, I mean, and I'm not joking, 30 rods bent. And you hear, zip-pow, 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 zip-pow. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? Guy hung on to one. We landed that one fish. It was a 180-pound bluefin. We got bit 32 times. We landed 4 fish. I was irate. I come back out of the wheelhouse, and I'm coming down the ladder to get ready to give a piece of my mind. And they're sitting there and they're high-fiving. Man, did you see that? That was awesome. And I'm just looking at them like, oh, wow. That day changed my perspective on fishing. It's not about what you put on the boat. It's about how good of a time your passenger or your client has fighting that fish, whether he loses it or not. He paid the money for that, not you. You know, a lot of times we'll get these first timers that come out and they'll hook into, I had one kid. I had my 130-pound setup. I know where's big fish. Drop down, I get bit. Set the hook, and I cranked on him, and he's standing there, hand him the rod. Tell my deckhand to get on him. I walk away, walk up to the bow. There's a guy with a reel from the 1960s. I'm going to say. And I'm just like, okay. He's got like 3 wraps on that. You need to stop this fish, otherwise you're going to lose him. And he looks at me kind of funny. I don't know what to do, so I grab his rod, I tighten it up, get about 12 wraps on it, and his drags are just toast. So we wind a little more, get a bunch of drag. I grab one of my rods from up the side, come over, stand there. We're pulling up like 15 or 20 feet. And I got like 40 feet of line on the ground in front of me. And I can feel this. And I call my deckhand. I tell him to come over. He cuts the line. I pull it off. And I hit him the thing. I said, you start to that rod. And he's looking at me. I said, come on, splice it. Hurry up. It's starting to run. And I come back again. And it starts to slide out of my hand ever so gently. I'm like, God, if the things take off, I'm screwed. It's going to hurt real bad. And working it. He finally gets it wrapped up. And I tell him to get like 6 wraps on the spool. Get 6 wraps on the spool. Okay, wind it tight. Once it's tight, I let it go. Fights the fish. It's about a 50-pound bluefin. It's like, yeah. And the look on the guy's face and the smile. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And the smile on his face, dude, it's moments like that to me are priceless. Priceless. Had a lady get on the boat one time, and she tells me that it was probably the best experience she and her son and her husband had ever had fishing. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah. I said, you catch anything? She said, no. I just looked at her. Dude, and to me, that's what it's about, you know? The son caught 3 yellowtail and a bluefin. But I mean, she said, I didn't catch anything. But I mean, just watching you guys, how you guys worked and did what you did, it was just, amazing. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. But guys, I mean, I would love to take you guys fishing, man.
Sold.
You guys would see, and I mean that, you guys would see the difference, man.
One question. What is your favorite style of fishing?
Mine,
How do you like to go fishing?
fish the weeds, calico bass, honestly, or deep drop 9, something like that. I really, really enjoy ground fishing because you never know what you're going to catch. You're not targeting a specific species. You're targeting fish, you know. Our trip in June 2nd is a charter that's put on by me that we've done for the past 10 years. And they're all family members of the Malihini. Decided let's go charter a boat one year. And we've been chartering. We chartered the Relentless, the Daiwa Pacific, and things like that. When I bought the Horizon, guess what? We're going to charter us now. And we're going to go to San Nick. Yeah, bluefin's biting. Okay, we're going to San Nick. You know, we're going to spend a day at San Nick and then come across the Tanner or Cortez looking for that yellowtail. Maybe some rockfish there too, who knows? But I really enjoy ground fishing. You know, techniques, sinkers. I like using big 7-8 ounce lead heads with big gigantic scampy tails. I like using knife jigs. I'm going to try that San Nick thing with that slow pitch. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun, dude. That is going to be fun. You know, and I just like fishing. I really do. Any other questions? Come on. What about you in the back there? Okay, just checking. I like lake fishing. But you know what my idea of lake fishing was? My dad and my uncle, we'd be in a boat. We'd be sitting there. They'd throw this big old 5 gallons, not 5 gallon, but you know, the coffee cans over the side. They had this big old cooler in the back. And they'd say, give me a beer, boy. Dad, you catch anything? Nope. Give me another beer, though. Dad, you catch anything? Nope. Can I go to the shore? I'd go to the shore and I would fish along the shoreline, looking for bass spots and stuff, you know, bass holes and things like that, or bedding bass. That's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. I like fly fishing too.
Got one more question for you. Processing fish on the boat or on the processor?
I'm going to tell you this. Past 2 years, there's been issues with processors.
Right.
Because they've been inundated with the enormous amount of fish. We would prefer to process the fish on the boat. That way we don't run into an issue of we get back to the dock and the processors don't take your fish, and then you have to come back down and sit there for another 2 hours while you get your fish processed by us. If you are aiming to have your fish processed, I would make sure you call the processor and have a standing appointment for that morning when we get back, because if you don't have an appointment, they're not going to take your fish. That's what they told us this year.
Wow. So you guys will cut fish on the boat?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely. Whether we cut, you know, here we go again. Trade secret time. I figure in my head that an individual comes out to go fishing. He or she has a set dollar amount that they're going to spend. groceries, galley, tip, fillet, whatever the case may be. I've had groups where we didn't cut anything, it was all sent to the processor. We made just as much money inside, is what we call it, as we would if they had processed their fish. You follow what I'm saying? I personally prefer to process the fish. That way I know you're getting a quality product when you step off of my boat.
Plus it throws a little bit in the deckhand's pocket too.
Oh, you're either going to give it in a tip, or you're going to give it cancel the tip and give it in processing. You know, that's how I when I would go fishing, that's how I would do it. You know, if we didn't catch anything, okay, I knew I was going to catch probably 5 fish today, so let's give them $60. Let's give them $100. You know, okay, we caught 5 fish. They're charging me $10. That's $50. We'll give them another $50. You know what I mean? So it balances itself out. And I tell you right now, if you don't believe the service, and I preach this also, if you don't believe the service was worth a tip, don't tip. Because that means that we let you down somewhere. You know what I mean? When I say you're on vacation, that's what I meant. Should not want for nothing. Oh, we have 3 showers. We have a standalone shower. Then there's a shower in one of the heads, and for you daring individuals, you can shower outside.
Don't threaten us. I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, bring $dollars.
Well, yeah, guys. I mean, it's
I don't think he knows it.
outside the
the boat is the boat's beautiful. The Malihini is my jewel. You know, and you will always hear me reference us or we, because ain't nothing I've done by myself. You know, I believe everybody that I work with has a lane. They stay in their lane. That makes the machine run very well. They get out of their lane, they find a new job. That's how I run, you know. We're servants to you guys, in the sense. We're here to serve, bottom line.
We're looking for a new president. Maybe we can. Next year. Hey, I just got in.
Give him a minute.
Yeah.
You know.
You have ice cream and brownies on the boat?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, for our longer trips, most definitely.
No, that's vacation. Sounds awesome. I was there when Chuck ran into you, and just hearing that we could get in early, exciting to us, and then having time to meet you was soul.
And honest to God, what you see is what you get. I am a big goofball. I'm going to admit it. I'm a big goofball, but I take what I do seriously, but I have fun of it. I have fun at it. And if you guys aren't enjoying yourself, it's not worth me doing it.
Yeah, we're kind of uptight around here. I'm going to keep my mouth shut
Oh, it's all good.
before I get in too much trouble.
How many experienced anglers do we have?
What do you can?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
I can say for myself, done a lot. Originally, it was a lot of freshwater fishing. My parents,
Right.
my aunts and uncles. I have some great stories that my aunts would give my dad. You know, they catch bigger fish. And a lot of stories I can tell you. But so I came out once I joined the club. Did a little offshore in Texas, where I'm from originally. But for me personally, you know, I've been on boats, and for me, the learning is doing it.
Amen.
Getting
Amen.
on the boat, and I can tell you, just sitting here and talking to you, I feel a lot more comfortable. Because I can't say all the captains I had one guy yell at me because I was on the wrong side of the boat. I'm like, I caught a fish. And it's like,
Right.
I don't know what to do. Why are you yelling at me that I'm not?
You're going to hear that. You're honestly, you're going to hear that a lot.
Yeah. No. I mean,
And
that's-
I believe it's all in the approach. You know,
but
hey, you're on the wrong side again.
Yeah.
I walk away.
But the steps, I think, in our club and the guys that will be on that boat, you just have, all of us you have some that are super experienced, some that are learning, like me, learning and knowing what you're supposed to do and
Right.
whatnot, but still need to learn. But we have one member that on a trip that we did, the captain's giving this little speech, and I don't want to see any of you guys with those single speed old rods out. And we have 3 guys that have, those,
I'm going to tell you this.
oh, that's that.
I'm going to tell you this. If we've been fishing a day and a half and 2 days prior to your trip, and all I've seen us catching is that 150 to 200 pound fish, when you come down to the dock with your single speed, I'm going to send you back up to the landing to go rent a 2-speed. It only improves, and the reason why I say that,
That's what amazes me. I'm sure you can, just because for me, myself, I'm watching other guys, I'm seeing what they're doing, I'm getting the gear, learning how to tie the
Right.
knots, I've learned how to bait. You're learning where you see other guys that still just never progress, they
Right.
seem to
with the Horizon, I went out and I spent $7,000 on 30s and 40 pin fathoms and 6.5 to 8 foot thresher rods. Those will be our rental rods. They're all 2-speed. You get on the boat, that spinning rod's not going to work. I'm gonna be honest. And it's only to help improve your odds of landing that 150 pound bluefin, or that 45 pound yellowtail, or that whatever the case may be. I'm not going to force it on you. You fish that spinning rod or that single speed, and you get broke off, or you can't get it to the boat, and this, that, one thing, other. That fish is going to make its case for me. You know what I mean?
Well, I've certainly said that in the club where guys, Chuck has been phenomenal in the sense that, hey, we're doing a tackle, it's set, these are what you're going to need. And that some guys just don't listen to it at all or take the advice. And when they ask me, I'm like, go rent a rod, because it's going to be set up perfectly.
Right.
You don't have to. There were the one trip we went on, these 2 guys were from Hawaii, didn't bring anything. And they caught fish because they they rented rods, and they caught as many fish as we did, and I had 7 setups.
I had best story I can tell about listening to what your deckhands are asking you to do. 3 years ago, I had a charter on a Friday and a Saturday. Saturday, I had experts. Okay.
Yeah.
We ran through our seminar. We asked them if they needed help tying their knots and this, that, one thing, the other. We spent the day at the Coronado Islands. We hooked probably 275 yellowtail. We landed 23. The following day, went out there with straight rent rod group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Saying that
Yeah, straight rent rod group. Same exact spot. Anchored up, threw some bait, yellows blew up around the corner. They all dropped their poles in the water, and we got bit, and it was a cluster. We landed 1 fish out of 30 hookups. After that, we wound up with 350 yellowtail because they were listening to what we were asking them to do. These guys that I work with, we do this day in and day out. If I were a fisherman going on a boat, first thing I'm going to do when I get on that boat after I sign in is I'm going to go talk to a deckhand. What's been working? Straight out. Yes, sir.
So, I can pre-trip, just call you up and say, yeah, I want to rent rods, and the rods will be ready to go. Set up.
They'll be ready to go.
How much, the rod runners?
$40 for the day.
Cause you're playing with
You got
$1,000
$1,000
with the rod and reel.
No, it's
No.
100%, I say that to everyone.
Seriously,
that-
$40.
Yeah,
If it's a day and a half,
Hold it in my hand for $40, it's worth about
$800.
$800.
Yeah,
Does that include the braid?
yeah. It's everything that's on it. And honestly, only time you pay for it is if you drop it over in the water.
We got a guy named that. He wouldn't show his face tonight. You're watching the show.
But yeah, I mean, I am not afraid to hand my EOS 50 wide off to a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
I got 40 and 60, that's about as big as I get, because I'll do what you do, we gotta go fish in the weeds, and
yeah,
I'm off the deer or off the dock.
Right.
And I'm able to do it back in the day.
that pin
The big
fathom.
stuff- The big stuff I won't buy, because I don't know what to do with it, and it sits there.
Yeah, it's overkill. Well, it's not. I'm not going to say it's overkill. That's the wrong term. It's
On your boat, it's not overkill, but for me, it's overkill.
Yeah.
I don't use it enough.
yeah. I'd rather have it and not need it than not have it and need it. But back to what we're saying that the pin fathom 40. I purchased those in December because a buddy of mine has like 6 of them, and he's landed fish over 200 pounds on that pin fathom 40. That pin fathom 40 is equal, in my opinion, to a, would you say a Speedmaster 20?
I don't know what Chuck might.
25? No, I'd say probably a 20. My favorite reels would be the Speedmaster series by Shimano. But I can't see spending all that money on a rental setup. That makes sense. Because I'd have to charge like $80 to rent those rods. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Do you run the kite as well, or?
I fished the kite on our longer trips. I fished the kite on the Malihini, and we landed at 219 on a double trouble. That was kind of fun.
Are we gonna try the squid this year?
I don't know if we get squid.
No, you were talking at one of Phil's podcasts about using one of those big,
He's talking about
Humboldt
Jack
squid deals that you get from the market,
Yeah. Oh, that's
and then
dude.
flying that off the kite.
Oh yeah, we did talk about that, didn't we?
Yeah, right? And Scott.
We might try it, but they're more partial to eating than flyers, dude.
They're so expensive though.
Not if you make them.
That's true.
Not if you make them. Clementi. Only thing I don't like about it is going there in October. It's kind of sketchy with all the traps and stuff in there.
Oh, for a lot of.
Yeah. I think I have probably 35 or 40 still in my freezer.
Would you entertain a lobster / fishing trip?
No.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Lobster / fishing trip as in diving?
No, hoop nets.
No. Because you're only allowed 10 hoops on the boat. That's it.
Correct.
30 people share 10 hoops? Yeah, no. Probably not.
So does the,
Huh?
Do people to run Mad Max? Troy? Is it Mad Max?
At 10 knots is not very effective.
so you said 23 was the magic number, right? That was the
22.
22.
Yeah, would be the magic number. For everyone to get a double bunk.
Are your later trips in the year filling up right now in the horizon?
I've got, I think it's 2.5, oh, it's a 3.5 day. I've got 14 for. It's still early in the year. It's still early in the year. And
For us to
what?
charter a part of that.
No.
We need to look at those, while you're here tonight, we need to look at the
August
dates.
15th, man. Good trip.
Nah, we're boycotting here.
Okay. You talking about doing a 2.5, 3.5, something like that?
2.5, 3, yeah, 2.5, 3 days.
You know, I think a 3.5 day trip would be sick. Reason why I say this. Okay. We go down south to Ensenada. We fish
Now, what kind of trip are you talking about?
a 3.5 day. A 3.5 day.
Started in Sonata.
Not in the town of it.
Yeah, not in the town of Ensenada. No, offshore. Offshore.
I was like, wait, I'm in.
Say that trip was done in October. Typically, there's yellowfin and bluefin and Dorado down there. Okay. Manageable 25 to 45 to 50 pounders. We do that the first day. We leave there that night. We drive 100 miles to Tanner. We're there the next morning. Okay? Okay, so we're going to do today. I don't see much in the form of kelp. Cool. Guess what? Let's go rock fishing. We spend half the day doing that. In the meantime, I'm getting information from everybody else about that bigger fish. Where's that bigger fish at? Oh, it's up on the Cortez. Oh, it's 42 miles from the Tanner. Let's go to the Cortez. We spend the next day and a half there trying to catch a big fish. We've got our satisfaction from catching a bunch of stuff here and a bunch of stuff here. Let's go see if we can't catch a big boy. You know what I mean? We get up there, we hook 30, 40 of these. Cool. We land 5. I'm stoked. Our trip is made here and here.
Right.
You guys are already high-fiving. It was a great trip. It was awesome. You know? I don't mind making that 100-mile move if we've done good here.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if we're down here and it's sucking and it's biting up here,
Yeah.
I'm going to be butthurt.
Yeah.
But it's fishing.
Yeah.
Okay, we caught 3 fish down here in Ensenada. We're going to run 100 miles now. Oh, we're going to burn a little fuel. Getting there, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that 100-mile trip that we're making this way, we're looking for fish. We're looking the whole way. We might find something 50 miles from there that just does us just fine. I'm good with that. Boat has a 1,300 mile range.
Jeez.
From port.
Huh?
I think you said 1,300 miles from port.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can travel 1,300 miles going any direction before I have to turn around and come back home. Now, on a 3-day trip, you're not going to run 1,300 miles. You might run, I'm going to say, 100, maybe 240 miles. If you have to. But to be able to have the luxury to do that, to me, is huge. As opposed with the Malihini, we'll leave the dock at 5:30. We've got to run 50 miles. That's the latitude. It's going to take us 5.5 hours to get there. After we get bait, it's now 7 o'clock. We won't be there till 12. We have you back at the dock at 6:30, 6:45. That gives us roughly an hour and a half, 2 hours to try and locate what we need to locate in order for us to get bit. It's a lot of pressure. But I mean, it's worked out just fine, so, you know.
Sounds awesome. Sound like you're threatening us with a good time.
Just keep you out of Ensenada.
But yeah, guys, I mean, it's
No! Why do you say that? They love me in it.
if you guys have any questions about, you know, what we do and what we've caught, Facebook.com/Malihini Sport Fishing. Check out some of the photos. Check out all the photos. For more information about the Horizon, it's horizoncharters.com. And offline, we'll talk about another phone number. If you're interested in booking a trip or something like that, it's 844-619-3474. If we don't answer the phone, that means we're busy. We typically return our phone calls anywhere between, I'm going to say 6 and 8 p.m. in the evening.
We're in.
Well, thanks for coming the website.
Guys, it was a pleasure. I look forward to it. I really do. You know, and my goal is to make lifelong partners in that sense. You know, my granddaughter plans on running the business, so she's 14. She's like that. Papa, I'm like, what? She goes, I want to drive. Yeah, okay. Talk to me when you're 18.
When can you get your captain's license?
18. Yeah. She has all the sea time she needs, you know, but not really. But, you know.
Has she docked the boat yet?
No. No. No.
It's a bigger boat.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Throw every buoy you got over.
You guys at Redondo Beach Rod and Reel Club, thank you very much for having me tonight. It was kind of cool. Bye, Mom. What's up, Bubba?
You're number one, man. Love you.